We are live, I think. So if you are watching on YouTube, let me know if you're here, if we are live. Amazing. It looks like we've got some people here. So if you're here, just drop me a comment. Tell me hello. Tell me that you can see me. Tell me you can hear me. Tell me that the tech is all working and life is good. Hello, Michelle. Nice to see you. So those of you that have not used this system before, you will need to click at the top and connect your StreamYard to your YouTube so that I can see who you are. Otherwise, it just comes up as a person. It doesn't tell me who it is. So I can see Steve's here. Hello, hello. How you doing? Nice to see you. I tried to call you earlier, funnily enough. Good stuff. So let's just give it a minute or two to get everybody in. My phone is popping. There's all sorts of fun stuff going on. Who else have we got online? Who's here? Tell me. Night 1 of challenge. 5-day boot camp. It's actually called Bootcamp officially, right? But it's a 5-day sprint challenge to get you in control of your finances, which I'm quite excited about. So am I live? Can you see me all right? Yeah, we're good. Excellent stuff. I don't have StreamYard. Jason, I can see that that's you. So whatever you've done it right. So that's good. Just leave it as it is. Nice to see you here. Hello. So we've got like nearly 300 of you registered for this week, which is super exciting. And some of you did it the last time we did it, and some of you are brand new, which is very, very cool. So just while we're waiting for a few stragglers to join and for YouTube and everything to link back up, just do me a favor and tell me where you are based. So are you based UK? If so, where are you? Is there anyone based overseas? I know last time when we did this, we had some people from America. We had a couple of people from Europe. So where in the world are you? Tell me where you're from. Let me know where you're at. Be interested to know where you're tuning in from. So North Yorkshire, I know we've got Lincolnshire. We've got London. Amazing stuff. Where are you based? Tell me in the comments. Anyone overseas? That's always super interesting. So great stuff. So tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be doing the live training that sits with today's task. Now, a couple of things. We had a bit of a technological glitch this morning, sadly. And basically what happened is you were all due to get a WhatsApp message from me between 6 and 7 a.m., which had the link in it to your task. Now, for some reason, unbeknownst to me and only known to themselves, Facebook, which is like Meta, which owns the WhatsApp messaging system, decided they were going to lock my account at midnight last night. Didn't tell me this until I woke up this morning ready to work with you guys, and my WhatsApp account was locked. So I had to go through an appeal today, all of this stuff. It's now unlocked. So you should have all got a WhatsApp around lunchtime, but you should have got that this morning. So I'm sorry for the delay on that. Most of you did manage to find it in your inbox. But if for any reason tomorrow you don't get a WhatsApp from me, just check your emails, because what we've done is we've set up the emails as like a backup in case WhatsApp does break on me again tomorrow. But thank you for your patience. Thank you to those of you that messaged me directly to say it hadn't worked for whatever reason. I appreciate you loads. Now, in the WhatsApp message, in the link in your emails, this is a really important part of this whole 5 days, because what you're going to get is a message from me each morning, and in that message is going to be a link, and it's a different link each day. And on the link, it's got the specific task for that day. There's going to be different tasks each day, 1 task a day each day for 5 days. So you've got 5 tasks. And each of those is like a building block to give you the full Money Mechanics Bootcamp experience, right? So today was all about financial snapshot. I'm going to get into this in a minute. And tomorrow is a different task, the next day, and so on. So all you need to do each day is click on that link, go to the page, and do the task, okay? And it's the top button on each of the pages, but make sure you're doing a slightly different task each day. Don't just redo the same task. So it's a different link each day. The resources that you need to be able to complete this 5-day program are sent out to you individually each day. So you've not got all of them at the moment. So I've had a few messages from people saying, I've not got all the resources, I need them, can you send them? Don't worry if you feel like you've not got a lot, you've just got like one thing today. That's right. That's exactly where we need to be. You're in the right place. All is well. So the other thing that you'll want to know is that there's a different link to the YouTube videos each night. So those of you who've got the link to this, well done. You've passed the first test. You're in the right place. Tomorrow's night's live. There is a unique link for tomorrow night and a unique link for Wednesday and Thursday and Friday. So don't hit this link again, because otherwise you'll be back into this event and it will show as finished. But on your task page that you'll get in your WhatsApp and on your email, there'll be a link to each page, each day. The individual link will be there. So just when you go onto it, just make sure you press that button and that will take you straight through to the correct live for the correct day. I'm working through a list, by the way, of things that I need to make sure that I tell you. So it's been great chatting to so many of you in WhatsApp today. I know we had a bit of a glitch this morning. It didn't really work for most of the day. But what's been really lovely this afternoon is that so many of you have been WhatsApping me. Now, what you will want to know, and what a lot of people ask me, is whether or not it's a bot replying to you or whether it's me. So it is, in fact, me. And actually, since I've been on the call, I've had 45 WhatsApps come through from you guys. So thank you for that. When you WhatsApp me, it comes through on this phone. And on this phone, I will then respond. So if you've got any questions this week, just talk to me. Whatever you're stuck on, whatever's not working, whatever you're struggling with, whatever's not making any sense, whatever I say that you think, do you know what, I just need to explain this again, make sure that you just WhatsApp me. You've got me all week, right? I've almost cleared my diary, not completely. I've got a few things, but we've got so much time carved out to really support you guys this week. So please utilize me, because that's what we're here for. Now the WhatsApp, when you respond to me, I will just respond to you. Now, if I am in a meeting or something, like, it might take me a few minutes or an hour or so to get back to you, but I will reply to you as soon as I can. With the WhatsApp, it's really important that you keep that conversation flowing, right? Because actually, if you're stuck on something and you ask and you get a response, but then you don't actually kind of progress the conversation, you're going to stay stuck on that thing, right? So if you're asking the question, if you're struggling with part of the process, make sure that you talk to me so that we can get you moving past the barrier, whatever that might be for you, into the next thing. Yeah, that's really, really important. There's loads of you I can see messaging me now saying you finished the task. Well done. I can see them all coming through. So good job on that. Anyone who's still stuck, WhatsApp me. Obviously, I'll come back to you after I come off of here. So the whole point of this week is really about helping you to build confidence, to build a bit of love around your money. So many people feel negative about their money. In fact, let me ask you guys, if I asked you to use one word to describe your relationship with your money right now, what would you say that word is? Like, how do you feel about your money right now? Is it exciting? Is it scary? Is it overwhelming? Is it opportunity? Is it, a burden? Like, what? Give me one word to describe your relationship with your money right now. Tell me how you feel about it. Hello, Yinka. Hello, Sarah. Hello, Rajesh, Dan, Mope, Jermaine. Hello to you all. It's so lovely to see you all. How cool. So we've got opportunity, we've got a sad face emoji, we've got lack, we've got challenging, we've got stressful. There's such a mixed bag of emotions when we think about money. Challenging's up there a couple of times, a little bit scary for some of you. Money does actually create quite a lot of emotion in all of us, because let's be really real for a second. Money matters. It doesn't matter what your situation, where you're based, how much of it you've got, how little of it you've got, whether you're a parent, whether you're divorced, whether you're a widower, whether you are male, female, whether you are any background whatsoever, money matters. We need it. It makes the world go round. It greases the wheels. It makes life just that little bit easier. Now, I know that money doesn't buy happiness, right? I get it. There's some very, very wealthy people who are incredibly unhappy. But I've been really fucking broke, and I've been in a position where I've got way more money than I need, and I've been every stage in between those places. And I can tell you now that having money makes life just a little bit less stressful, because you can speed things up, you can grease the wheels, you can, access things that you can't access when you've got no money, right? So, embarrassed, stressful, scary, chaotic, what we want to try and do this week is to help you build confidence and a little bit of love so that you actually enjoy money. Because what I truly believe is that actually money is neutral. Money actually isn't anything. Money is just a neutral thing. And the emotions we apply to it, the meaning we apply to it, is what makes it that thing. So if we can get more confident around it, if we can feel like we love it, if we feel like we've got a great relationship with it, then we can send it off out into the world to work for us, to do the thing it's supposed to do, right? But if we're constantly thinking about it as a chain around our neck, as something that is stressful and, dragging us down and all these things, then we will continue to feel that, and that will continue to manifest. I'm a firm believer in, where you put your energy, that's what comes. What we focus on is what then becomes reality. So we've got to build confidence around money. We've got to feel like we love it, like it's choosing you, like it chooses, that it's a friend, all of those things. We've got to actually have a really positive relationship with our money. So let me ask you a question. Are you ready this week to build a better relationship with money? Do we want to understand it better? Do we want to control it better? Are you ready to actually get a better relationship with your money so you're not feeling stressed, you're not feeling worried, you're not feeling anxious about it, you're not feeling chaotic? Yeah? Are you ready to get started? Amazing stuff. Lizzie, yes, is coming in here. We love this. So today is all about financial snapshot, and there's two things that I just want to tell you about before we jump into today's task. So the first one is that quite a few of you already have upgraded to the VIP access of this bootcamp. Now, just to summarize, that VIP is, you guys are on general admission, and we will do this live to everybody that's in either VIP or general admission throughout the week. But the VIP upgrade, it's £50 to upgrade. And what you're going to get when you upgrade is a few extra resources that will just make life that little bit easier to really get confident behind your money. But there's also 2 additional training sessions that I'm running. One is a budgeting session, which we're doing on Wednesday. At 1 o'clock. Wednesday at 1 o'clock. It will be recorded, so if you can't turn up live, you can always send me the questions on WhatsApp that you need answering, and I can answer them for you. Or if you can turn up live, then absolutely brilliant. And then on Thursday, we're doing another session, which is a deep dive Q&A, which is your opportunity to just talk through your situation with me, for me to point you in the right direction and give you a bit more of like tailored personal support, right? Now, what I can't do this week at any point is give you financial advice or stock tips or anything like that. That's not what we're doing here, right? I'm not going to say to you, go and buy stocks in XYZ company, or go and put money here, or that's not what we're doing this week. But the VIP Q&A sessions are really an opportunity for you to say, well, this is my situation. How could I really make the biggest difference to it? So if you want to jump in on those sessions, it's £50. And the link to upgrade will be on your task page, and we'll make sure we get the link into the chat as well shortly. The other announcement that I've got for you guys, and this is really cool. I'm very excited about this because this is where actually we start to play as a community for the week. I'm going to run a social media competition. Okay. So anyone who's ever seen me do a challenge like this before, we always do this because it's really good fun. Social media competition. First of all, the prize, right? So the prize, I run an event called Money Mechanics Live. Money Mechanics Live is the live version of everything I wrote about in the Money Mechanics book, okay? So it's the 4 key pillars of money. It's stabilizing your income, recovering from debt or handling your debt, or, leveraging debt if that's where you're at, preparing to invest and how to actually prepare to invest, and then actually starting to invest. So the live event is on the 22nd of March in Milton Keynes. And the prize for the social media competition winner is 2 tickets to the Money Mechanics live event. Now, the tickets are currently on an early bird rate, which is £295 plus VAT. So you'll get 2 of those. But on the 1st of February, those tickets got to £650 plus VAT, which is our standard price. They're currently on early bird because obviously we're still quite a long way away from the event. So social media competition, you guys, whoever wins it, we're going to pick one winner. You're going to get 2 tickets to that event in Milton Keynes on the 22nd of March. And if for any reason you can't make that date, we're going to have another event in September. So you'll be able to transfer them across. Whoever wins, you'll be able to find a date that works. In the social media competition, all you've got to do at some point this week, ideally every day, as many posts as you want, every post that you put up will count as an entry. Share what you're learning about this week. I am on a mission to simplify complex money topics for as many people as I possibly can. I've set myself a goal of trying to help 10,000 people this year in 2025 become confident enough to start investing in the markets, right? 10,000 people. I'm not going to do that by myself. I need your help. So for me to be able to reach that many people, what I'd love for you to do is to take part in this competition. What have you learned? What takeaways have you got? What are you excited about? What, is there something that you think, bloody hell, everybody should know that? I want you to share it. I want to use the hashtag, I'm a money mechanic. So I am a money mechanic, all one word with a hashtag at the beginning. So whatever you post, whether it's a selfie, whether it's a picture of us on here live, whatever you want to do, whether it's just a picture of your workbook or the task you're doing, whatever, I don't care what it is. I'm a money mechanic. Hashtag I'm a money mechanic. Get that up on the internet, on the socials, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. What else do we do? Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. If you're doing a TikTok, that'd be amazing too. We'll check out all the platforms and we will come and find those I'm a money mechanic posts. And my trusty team, who are sitting over there, by the way, will choose a winner at the end of the week. And at the end, on Friday, we will announce the winner and you'll get 2 tickets to Money Mechanics Live in Milton Keynes on the 22nd of March. That's it. They are your announcements. So let's get into it. So, financial snapshot. How many of you have done the task? In the comments, let me know. Have you done the task? Are you in the middle of doing the task? Or are you still a little bit nervous and needing some help with the task? Where are you at? This is the printout, by the way, of the financial sheet, just so I can work through it. Have you done the task? Are you in the middle of the task? Or are you completed? I know loads of you have completed it because you've WhatsApped me to tell you, which is amazing. You should have got a WhatsApp back from me to say, nicely done. Love this. So loads of you done it. Happy days. Happy days. Okay. So if you've not done it yet, if you've not started it yet, let me just explain briefly what it is. A financial snapshot. And for those of you that have done it, let me just explain why it's so important. And the reason we start here. Because if you do not know where you are, how can you possibly move forwards? It's really quite simple. And most of you will know this, right? You'll know actually what you measure can be improved. You'll know that when you set a target, moving towards it, in increments, moving towards, a running distance or a weight loss goal or a business goal or a financial goal or whatever your goals are, you'll know that actually you know where you start and you know where you want to finish. Actually, if you don't know where you're starting, how can you possibly work out how to get to the place? So the financial snapshot that I've got you guys to do, there's 4 components to it. Yeah, you've got your income, your expenses, your debt, and your assets. And really, the key goal that I want you guys to get to is to know today what your current net worth is. Now, you don't need to tell me what it is. And, there's a reason why we do this particular boot camp, by the way, on WhatsApp and YouTube and not in Facebook groups, which many of you will be used to. It's because actually we're talking about stuff that's quite personal. It's quite confidential. So I'm not going to ask you to share anything publicly that you don't want to share. If you want to WhatsApp me specific, it's only me and my team that will be able to see that, but that will never go anywhere public. But a question for you. Do you currently know what your net worth is? Have you worked it out either today or did you already know? Do you know what your net worth is? Now, for some of you, it will be a minus number. That's okay. For some of you, it'll be 0. That's okay. For some of you, it'll be more than you were expecting. For some, it'll be less than you were expecting. But what I want you to understand is that there is not a good or bad or right or wrong this week. All we're doing this week is figuring out where we are. So your financial snapshot is to work out where we are. Yeah. Now, those of you that haven't done it, I'm curious, is it that you just didn't know how to work it out? Is it that you were just a bit frightened to figure it out? Is it because you think that it's not going to be anything? Or is it something else? You know, there's a few people on here that are saying it was more than you expected. Like, we run a retreat in Ibiza every year, and every year we have a few clients that will sit with me and work out their net worth, and it's always more than they were expecting. Always. Because people don't necessarily understand the true value of stuff they've got in their life, specifically assets. So it's not a nice process to go through. This financial snapshot is the most painful thing I'm going to ask you to do all week. We get it out the gate, we eat that frog, we do the thing that's the hardest straight away. This is the hardest thing. So if you've struggled today, well done. If you've done it anyway, even better. If you're struggling to get it down and figure it out, don't worry. You're not on your own. You can totally just WhatsApp me. But what we need you to get to today is a point where you've got all of these sections filled out. Because if you don't know what it is, you can't improve it. You know, if you know that your net worth right now, like mine was back in 2015, I'll tell you a bit more about that in a minute, you know, is like minus 60,000, then how will you ever know if you've got to minus 50 and then 40, then 30, then 20, then 10, then 0, then 10 plus? Because you just don't know, right? You're not tracking it. So let's talk about these core bits. Your income, your expenses, this is just you helping to budget, right? And your debt and your assets is really working out your net worth. Your income and your expenses are for you to know where you are every month. And your debt and your assets are for you to work out how much you've actually got. Okay. So your debt and your assets, your net worth really is about working out how much you owe, how much you own, taking one away from the other and telling you what's left. Okay. Now, I remember the first time that I did this. It was like 2014, 15, late 2014, early 2015. And at the time, I'd gone through a process of starting my own business. And my own business started in 2012-13. And it was a photo booth company. I used to rent photo booths out to weddings and events and things like that. It was great fun. But I had absolutely no idea how to run a company. None. No one had ever sort of sat me down and said, you know, you need to think about tax, you need to think about budgeting, you need to think about how the money flows through the business and, you know, what you're spending on marketing and all these different things. And as you know, I was quite young then compared to now, sadly. And I also had really poor money habits in my real life. So my business life was poor and my real life was poor. I was spending more money than I earned. I was living outside of my means. I was using plastic to leverage everything because no one had ever sat me down and taught me how money really worked. So by the time 2015 came around, I actually got married in September 2015. And by the time that came around, I was about £60,000 in debt. Most of that was credit card debt. Most of that was expensive, like 18, 19, 20%. And many of you on here now will recognize that. You'll be in debt. You'll have credit cards or loans or whatever it is, and it'll be expensive. For me, I had most of it on a 0%, and then the 0% ran out, and it clicked over into like 18, 19, 20%. And I was like drowning. I also had no idea how minimum payments was impacting me. I had no idea how interest rates, like how much stuff was costing me, because no one had ever taught me that stuff. So if you're anything like I was in 2015, you know that money matters. It always felt like it was just that little bit out of my reach. I could see other people doing all right with money, and I seemed to work harder than most of those people, but I just couldn't make sense of it because no one had ever taught me the stuff that I wrote about in the book. This book is basically a decade-long download of my brain, of all the things I became obsessed about learning. So 2015, I decided enough was enough, and I started another business, which was a property business. And many of you in here, I can see the names in here. I've worked with some of you before. Some of you are brand new here, but I started a business that was in the property sector, and the property sector taught me loads. It taught me how the difference between good and bad investments, because my first business in property was a combination of rent to rent, which is a strategy where you create homes from other people's homes, basically. And I also did portfolio building. And portfolio building is an incredible skill to have, because it taught me how to build investment portfolios for other people. When you're doing it with other people's money, it's even harder than doing it with your own money, right? So I spent 2-3 years purely focused on learning about how investment worked. And in the first 2 years, I was able to earn enough money in my business, building portfolios for other people and myself, to be able to clear my debt of £60,000. So I did that in 23 months. Now, I can tell you that took some going. I'm going to talk to you in a minute about the methods that I chose. I'm going to teach you what those methods are so that you can replicate them, or replicate the best option for you. So my debt was cleared within 23 months. And from that point onwards, I started to earn money, and I still didn't seem to have any. I was still like, well, where is my money going? And I became obsessed with working out, why was it that people that had the same amount of money as me in terms of earning seemed to always have more? And it was because they were putting their money to work better than I was. Now, your money is a tool. Like I said earlier, money's neutral. It's not actually anything specific other than what you apply to it, the emotion that you apply to it. But what money does do is move around. It's like an energy. When you send it out to do its job, it will work for you like a little army of workers, helping you to earn more money if you send it out in the right way. But it's so easy to send it out in the wrong way. It's so easy to do what I did to get into loads of debt, which was to buy festival tickets. And I spent a lot on Jack Daniels, and I had a lovely time. It was great in my 20s, but it cost me dearly into my 30s because my credit rating was shot. I had no money. It was costing me a fortune. Everything just came down to, I've got no money, right? So I then spent, from when I started to buy buy-to-lets in sort of 2017, I started to learn even more about how I could put my money to work. And I started learning about stocks and shares, and I started learning about the markets, and I started learning about crypto, and I started learning about other investment types, which we talk about later in the week, by the way. I'm not going to bore you with this now. I'm really going to dig into it in detail later in the week, all the different ways that you can put your money to work. But what was so important about going through that process was that I got this really wide understanding of money. And actually, I learned that most people who were like I was didn't really come from money, didn't grow up in a household where money was talked about around the dinner table. In fact, if anything, money was quite the opposite. Money was sort of demonized in my house and my family. I don't ever remember as a kid seeing, a Ferrari drive past and anyone in my life saying, wow, he must have made really great choices to be able to be driving that car. Most people in my life would have said, bloody wanker, he's a flash git, isn't he? God, like, must be making up for something, and would really make it like a negative thing that person had something that we didn't have. Now, obviously, as you learn about money and things like that, you learn actually having a flash car doesn't necessarily mean that you've got any money. It could mean you've got loads of debt, but that's, again, for later in the week. Your money story and how you grew up learning about money and how money was presented to you as a kid will definitely be having quite a big impact on how you are behaving around money, with money, to money now as an adult. And there's a chapter in the book, for those of you, does anyone want the link to the book, by the way, or have you all got a copy? Because I know a lot of you have got it. If you would like a link to order the book, it's on Amazon, but you can order from me and I'll send you a signed copy. It's also cheaper if you order it through me than it is on Amazon. So let me know, and I will, I'll drop the link in the chat. In the book, we talk about money mindset and different types of behaviors around money. You know, for some people, you'll have grown up in a house where money was weaponized against one of your parents, or, you know, you would have grown up in a house where, you know, it was a very generous household, and you give away your value and your, you know, your personal worth was linked to how much money you could give away to charity and things like that. Or, you know, there's different types of money relationships that we've all got. And it's so important to understand what yours is, because when you understand what yours is, you will better understand the way that you behave around money, the decisions you make with money, the way you treat money. And actually, when you understand it, you can change it. Until you understand it, you can't really change it. And this will be why, for many of you, there'll be nodding heads happening when I say this. For many of you, you'll be like, well, every time I take one step forward, I seem to take 10 steps back. It will be why, for some of you, you know, you start to clear a credit card and then your car dies and you end up having to go back on the debt, and, or, you know, your boiler goes in your house or something happens, and you feel like every time you start to build momentum, you end up getting kicked back down. And this actually is all around your mindset around money, the way we choose to treat our money and where we put it. So this week is very much going to fill in the gaps, but your financial snapshot starts you off there. And doing this for the first time for me was one of the most painful things I've ever done. Because, I mean, there was tears. I don't know if any of you have cried today, but I totally cried the first time. Fern's car died last week. Happens, right? I get it. I've had to buy a new car this week because my Range Rover died on me a couple of weeks ago. You know, it happens, right? When I sat and did this financial snapshot for the first time, it was a really emotional thing, because I hadn't realized quite how bad it was. Like, I knew I had no money. I knew it was costing me money. I knew there was, like, I was worried about money in the back of my mind, but I'd not actually ever sat and written it all down. Sat and written down what it was costing me, what my interest rates were, what my payments were. I just kind of set it all up on automatic, and I just didn't look at it. I thought, if I don't look at it, it won't be a bad thing. I won't worry. And that's not true, because I was still worried about it, but I also wasn't doing anything to proactively fix it. So if you've had a shit day doing this task, I just want to applaud you. I just want to say well done, because, you know, it will never be harder than it is today if you take control of it. It will always be the hardest at this point. So once I'd done my financial snapshot, and this was in 2014-15, and I'd recognized the debt, I then worked really hard to clear my debt. I probably didn't do it in the most sensible way. What I know now is actually I could have done it in a slightly different way, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute. But I then went on to really develop a really solid understanding of money. And in fact, I became what is now known as a money mechanic. I had a stable income. I have a stable income. I use good debt, and I do not have bad debt. And that's the ideal position to be in. Debt's actually not a terrible thing. Good debt exists, bad debt exists. There's a difference, and we'll tell you what they are in a minute. Then I wanted to understand how to have a diversified portfolio. And then I wanted to actively go after that portfolio with some strategy, right? And that this week is what I'm going to get out of my head and give to you guys. So let's break down these 4 core pillars of a financial snapshot, so you've got a bit more context about why we need it. So the first thing is your income. So there's different types of income. And again, I've had a chat with a few of you on WhatsApp today. There's different types of income. So for some of you, you'll be in a PAYE job, right? That's the first thing. You'll have a job and you'll have PAYE, and every month you'll get paid on payday, and you'll have a gross income and you'll have a net income, right? Now, your gross income is like your, on your contract, it will say, I earn £30,000 a year. That's your salary, yeah? And your salary is a great figure to know. Like, it's important that you know how much you earn. But your salary isn't actually how much you earn, because after tax and pension and national insurance and student loan, if you're paying a student loan, there'll be your gross, which is your big number. There'll be a lower number, your net income. Now, when you're working on this snapshot, what I want you to really think about is your net income. Now, the only way I could ever work out how to remember this, by the way, is gross is the gross, grand, big, the bigger number. And net is after you've scooped out everything you need to pay, what's left in your net. So I don't know about whether that helps any of you to remember the difference. But for me, before I had businesses, before I, back in the day, before I understood the difference, I never really could work out the difference between gross and net because no one explained it to me. So if you're like me, then you're not alone. I also didn't get it. That's how I worked it out. Gross, grand, big, the bigger number is the number you get. And then net is if you scoop out all the stuff you've got to pay, what's the net that's left? Like in your net, like as if you're fishing, in your fishing net, right? So with your income, what we want to put here is your net income. Because when we're working on a budget, we need to know the actual money we've got to spend, not the money that's already been spent with the taxman. And I put a post up last night on Facebook. If anyone follows me on Facebook, if you don't follow me on Facebook, follow me on Facebook or Instagram. And feel free to tag me in your post, by the way, this week for the social media competition. It helped me find them. And I put up a post yesterday about a scenario where you have a £50,000 gross income, get a £10,000 pay rise, go buy a car on finance, and just what the actual difference is that if you go and get a 5-year finance on a £40,000 car, you're actually £5,000 a month worse off than you were when you got a pay rise. So it's worth going and have a read of that post. Not now, stay here for now, but after we get off of here, go and have a read of that post. So understanding what your net income is the most important part of this budgeting process that we're going to work on this week, because you can't spend money that the taxman's already taken. Yeah. And, I've put on here salary, side hustle, investments. So salary is like your wages. Like if you've got a company, so I know a lot of you have got are self-employed and run your own companies. What do you pay yourself a month? For most, if you're a director of a limited company, most of you will pay yourself £758 a month, which is up to your threshold. And you might have a regular dividend that you take from your business. If you've got a PAYE job, you'll have your net income that is the net income that you take. Then maybe you've got a side hustle alongside that. Maybe you sell stuff on Vinted. Maybe you have an eBay account. Maybe you do car boots every weekend. Maybe you, I don't know, you upcycle furniture. I don't know, whatever your thing is that you do, if you do, side hustle, we want to put that on there. Again, we want to really think about net. So like if some months you make £500 a month flipping furniture, but most months you make £100, put £100 into your budget as we're starting to work on this budget, because otherwise the financial snapshot is like over egging the pot. And when you over egg the pot, all that happens is you're basically lying to yourself that you've got more money than you've actually got. If anything, you want to downplay this line, because actually when we layer in the income and the expenses to your budget later in the week, you'll end up being able to hit your targets better than if you thought you had £10,000 coming in. In fact, you only got £4,000, right? So we want to think about that. So your income, what I want you to think about is everything that you have coming in. If you've got a lodger, put that in there. If you've got, if you've got a cash business, I don't know. I don't care if you declare your income for tax or not. If the tax man knows, you don't have to tell me. You don't have to show me anything. You don't have to show anyone. Just do what you're doing. But if you know you've got a lodger that pays you cash, then put it in there, because for your budgets, you need to know how much money you've got, right? Now, the next layer for this is expenses. Before I jump to expenses, any questions about income and how to list this? How to actually start to funnel this into a budget? Is there any questions that I can answer? Now, I'm going to come back and answer like all of the questions at the end, but specifically before I move on, is there any questions about how to actually list your income into your financial snapshot? Any questions at all? I know we've got a bit of a delay on here, so hold on. It might just be that there's no questions. Give it 2 seconds. Okay, cool. So it looks like we're good on that. So expenses. Let's talk about expenses. Now, there's regular expenses and then there's impulse spending. And we're going to talk about the two. Regular expenses are mortgages, rents, car tax, car insurance, buildings insurance, contents insurance, like the stuff you pay for regularly. Now, your regular expenses, your actual living expenses, these are the ones that repeat regularly, but they're the same amount, right? The same amount each month. Your utility bills might change. Utility bills are epically expensive right now, but we are where we are. Listing these as an average is going to be helpful for you. Groceries. Now, for me, in my life, groceries are probably the biggest impulse spend that we have. Because, I have a very inconsistent diary, and so we don't actually always do like a big shop. I know for some of you, you'll be very regimented and you'll do a big shop and stuff like that. But, when you don't have kids and actually it's just your husband and you, like it is in my life, we can kind of get away with not doing the big shop and having food for the week. We can say, I'm going to pop to the shop today and I'm going to get the next couple of days, and we do that. But what that creates in our life in real terms is that's probably the biggest impulse spending line that we have. Because I don't know about you guys, but every time I go into Lidl's, I shop in Lidl's and Aldi because Tesco's is crazy expensive. Again, I put a post about this recently. Every single time I go into Aldi's for like milk, I spend 40 quid. I don't know how they do it, but they do. We went into, over Christmas, I wasn't very well, and we went to Tesco to buy some medicine, and we ended up spending £84 on 2 carrier bags of stuff from Tesco's. I think that groceries is, for a lot of people, a very common impulse spending line. Now, feel free to confess if you are like me, but also things like lunches. If you work in an office, or you work anywhere and actually you like popping out to get a Marks and Spencer's meal deal, or you're going to Tesco's for a meal deal or something like that, or maybe you get a sandwich wagon that comes around your office and you get a sandwich every day and a bottle of drink and a bag of crisps and a chocolate bar or something like that, which is, for a lot of people, that's quite a common pattern. I know when the sandwich van comes here, there's the same people that go to the sandwich van every day. The same people go to Marks and Spencer's for a meal deal 5 days a week. Yeah. These are like impulse spend. Unless it's in your budget, actually, we spend £8 a day on lunch, which, let's be honest, is a little bit overkill. We don't need to spend £8 a day on a Marks and Spencer's meal deal. Is it £8? £7? Something like that? I think it's like £6. £6? Is it? It feels like it's more than that. I think it is £6. I'm asking Shamala because sometimes she gets us meal deals from Marks and Spencer's. And listen, this isn't about you having a life where you can't have anything, right? I get it. Sometimes you need to grab a meal deal from Marks and Spencer's. But budgeting and understanding your expenses in this layer just helps you to know that you've got enough money to do those things without relying on debt to do it. Yeah. So any transport, do you regularly get a train? And so, I don't know, let's say if you lived in Wellingborough, we're just outside of Wellingborough, if I was going to get a train into London every day, that would have a cost. But also around that would have the cost of the parking by the train station every day. That needs to be in there. But also the cost of the coffee that I would definitely get every morning from the train station, and probably the croissant or the cereal bar or something. Those things, that actually needs to be considered as an expense. Just because actually it's just a coffee, well, if it's not in there, it's an impulse spend, right? We're trying to work on your budgets. So your entertainment, maybe you're somebody that likes to go to cinema every month. Maybe they have date night or something. Maybe that's something that's important to you and that's a consistent expense. Get it in there. Now, the other thing that I think is really important on the expenses is looking at subscriptions. Now, I know I went through my Apple subscriptions over Christmas. I think it was like £590 worth of subscriptions that would have renewed in 2025 that I don't use anymore, like all the apps that I deleted, basically. Had I not gone in there and checked my subscriptions, it was like over £500. Well, that's £500 over a year. And whilst that might not, you might think, oh, well, that's not a lot over a year. Well, if I've got £500 there hemorrhaging out of my money, and I've got £500 over here hemorrhaging out, and there's £500 here that I'm spending on milk when actually I don't need to be spending it, and it all adds up, right? Those sorts of things are really important. And by having a really clear budget, starting with understanding these 4 layers, you will be able to be way more in control of your money. And when you're in control of your money, you'll feel confident about your money. Even if you haven't got a lot of it, your confidence levels will rise because you're in control and you feel in control. Plus, when you know your income and expenses, you know how much you've got left, right? If every month you've got a tenner left after everything, then you know you've got a tenner. If you know you've got nothing left and actually you're spending more than you're earning, well, then you know you need to either spend less or earn more, right? If you don't know this stuff, you'll never be able to move forward from where you are now. So there's a couple of questions. So Tina asked, should I include my husband's income? So what I'd say on this is I think it's really important. I believe in a world where everyone is financially independent by themselves, so that then when they're in a partnership, they can come together as partners and do stuff together. But we should all have our own money, right? We should all have a pot of money that is our own money. And yes, I understand that, like, you have joint accounts for joint mortgages, joint bills, etc. But I think everybody should have or be in a position where, you know, if something happened, they've got their own money to spend. They don't have to ask anyone for it, etc. Now, in terms of doing this activity, Tina, I don't know whether you have or haven't with that. That wasn't the question, but I just wanted to point that out. I think that everybody should do this themselves. So you should do it and your husband do it. And then you kind of come together to bring the two together to work out whether actually that's making sense. So I would say do it as a household for sure, but actually, is there a way that you could do it independently as well? Because that's just going to help you to, again, be just more clear on, you know, how much money you have, how much money he has, and how much money you have together. Hopefully that helps. Sainsbury's is a killer. Oh, I know. I don't go to Sainsbury's. I don't go to Sainsbury's or Waitrose, and I very rarely go to another Sainsbury's. You know, we don't need to be spending the money we spend on impulse purchases. We all need to eat, right? I get it. We all need some sort of food shop. But actually, we can choose better, right? Especially if we've not got any money every month, we can make adjustments to buy less milk or whatever the thing is. So income and expenses. We have expenses, we have our bills, our consistent expenses, and we have impulse spending. If we can just reduce our impulse spending by 5% a year and our bills by 5% a year, that's going to create you a pot of money that you can use to invest in stuff. So a lot of clients say to me, Sarah, listen, I love what you do. I've read the book. I want to do the things, but there's no money left. At the end of the month, I haven't got £10 a month to invest. If you do this activity and you really look at your subscriptions, your expenses, your impulse spending, you know, most of us, not all of us, there'll be some people where genuinely you can't, but for most of us, I bet we could save £10 a week from impulse spending stuff that we don't really need. You know, those of you that have a couple of bottles of wine a week, maybe you have one less, that'll be a tenner. It's about making proactive change. It's not about life without, because no one wants a life with nothing, right? It's about how do we make strategic, proactive change. So that's income and expenses. Let me just tick this off so we've done it. So let's talk about debt and assets. So I think debt is one of the most fascinating things that I talk about. I thought when I was in debt that debt was bad. I just thought debt was a bad thing. That if I was in debt, that meant I was a failure. I didn't have any money, so that people would judge me for that. Like, I just thought there was this real negative thing around being in debt. Actually, that was the emotion I was applying to it, because I felt like a failure because I was in debt. And there'll be people on here, you'll feel like I felt in 2015, and you'll think, fucking hell, I worked so hard, I've got nothing to show for my money. Maybe you're getting older and you look at life and you think, for fuck's sake, like, I don't understand how it's quite got like this. Like, it feels a bit unfair. Debt is unfair, actually. And, you know, I was talking about this. I did a talk in Newcastle on Wednesday last week. And one of the things we were talking about is the difference between being on a minimum payment plan for, like, paying back your credit cards, minimum payments, versus paying a fixed amount. And I posted this on Facebook as well yesterday or the day before. I've got an eyelash in my eye, I think. Sorry, I keep rubbing my eye. I'm going blind in one eye. Minimum payment, I call it the minimum payment trap, right? The minimum payment trap is what we've all been led to believe is the best way for us to handle our debt, right? Just by show of hands or an emoji or a thumbs up or something in the comments, just tell me, are you paying a minimum payment like plan to clear a credit card or a loan or something like that? Who is paying minimum payments at the moment? I know I was, like, across all of my credit cards. I mean, I had a lot. There's a photo of me on Instagram holding all the credit cards that I used to have, and it's like this many. How many of you are currently paying minimum payments on credit cards? It'll be quite a few of you. There'll be some of you who've got no credit cards and you're not paying, but for those of you who've got credit card debt, how many of you are paying minimum payments? Yeah, I can see the yeses coming in. Some of them, yep. There's some of you who've read the book and haven't done it and have followed me for a while and have changed it. So if you write this down, right? If you take nothing else away from tonight, this is going to be the thing that will blow your mind, I reckon. In the UK at the moment, right, the average credit card is it's between £2,000 and £3,000, like the average credit card debt at the moment, as of August 2024. Actually, when you apply that to the country, like, it's a real big amount of debt. But when you split this down into, okay, how are people paying that credit card debt? Most people are paying minimum payments. And in the UK at the moment, the legal minimum payment amount is like 1% of your 1% of the total debt. So if you took the average credit card in the UK right now and you started with a £72 payment on month one, and you stuck to a minimum payment plan to pay back that, like, I think it's about £2,500, right? It would take you, how many years? Let me ask you guys, how many years do you think it would take to pay the average credit card off in the UK right now using minimum payments? How many years? Assuming let's say it's £3,000. How many years do you think it would take to clear a £3,000 credit card using the minimum payment strategy that most of you are using? How many years do you reckon? Those of you who have seen my talk, you'll know because I told you. I know there's a few people in here. How many years do you reckon? So we've got to guess at 20. We've got a 29 year. We've got 10 years. We've got 20 years. What do you reckon? 3 years, 9 years, 15 years. No one said the right number yet. There's a couple that are close. What do you reckon? Stick in the comments. How many years do you think in the UK right now it takes to pay back the average UK credit card on the average UK interest rate? So we've got 3, we've got 5, we've got 15, we've got 10, we've got 29. 27 is the answer. 27 years to clear the average credit card in the UK right now, if you stick to minimum payments, which would start at £72 and it would go down every single month for 27 years. Now, if instead of sticking to a minimum payment where it goes down and down and down every month, if you just stuck to that same £72 a month, £72 a month, £72 a month, you just stuck at that £72 a month, it takes 4 years and 11 months to clear the same credit card. Right? Minimum payment trap. It's the minimum payment trap. It's designed to keep you in debt for the longest possible time because banks earn their money when you're in debt. They don't earn money from your interest when you've cleared your debt. Right? We've been convinced as a society that the banks are doing us a favor, allowing us to pay minimum payments, and giving us the pleasure of, well, actually, we just split it over time, blah, blah, blah. No. 27 years down to 4 years and 11 months just by sticking to that payment that you paid in month 1 and month 2, month 3, and you just stick to it. That is disgusting. That is not common knowledge. Most people don't know that. And I tell you what, when I learned that my minimum payment, 60 grand on minimum payments, I'd have been paying that forever. I never actually worked out the numbers, but that is like horrendous. The banks shouldn't be wanting me to stay in that state. It's not good for us. It's not good for the economy. It's good for banks. The reason I wrote this book, the reason we do this challenge, the reason we run our live event is because I want people to better understand this stuff. so that actually people don't think it's 3 years, 5 years, that actually people understand it's 27 years to clear the average credit card. So there's two ways that you can clear debt. First of all, let me talk about the difference between good and bad debt, and then we'll talk about clearing debt and the two methods that you can use, right? So good debt is debt that you have, so money that you borrow that is put to work to make more money. So for example, this would be a mortgage on a buy-to-let house is probably the most common example that most of you all know. You borrow £100,000, you buy a house with it, you rent that house out, and that rent pays back your mortgage. So as you're doing that, you're building capital if you're on a repayment. If not, then you're on interest only, but someone's paying you a cash flow. Somebody else is paying back your debt. Leverage, they call that leverage. Again, there's a whole chapter about this in the book. Leverage is great if it works for you. Leveraging other people's money is a brilliant way to use debt in your favor and put money out to work for you when it's not even your money, but it makes you a profit, right? So there's good debt, which is money that's working for you. And there's bad debt, money that's costing you money, money that's draining your resources to have it. Now, a credit card at 18% is an example of bad debt. A credit card at 0% is different because it's not costing you any money to have that money. And as long as you don't go and blow it on shit that you don't need to impress people you don't like on the internet, right, which is what most people are doing, you could put that money to work. Let's say you've got a £5,000, 0% credit card, and you go and you buy stock for a business and you then sell that stock to make a profit. Actually, that would be good debt. You're borrowing money, but you're putting it to work. It's doing a thing. The same £5,000 on an 18% interest rate is costing you money to have that money. It doesn't matter what you go and do with it. You have to earn more than 18% on that money for it to be broken even. So the industry standard is 7%. So if your debt is costing you more than 7%, you want to try and clear that as soon as you possibly can. You want to try and get rid of that debt. If it's costing you less than 7%, then at that point, you can consider whether actually you could invest the money versus clear the debt. So there's two ways to clear debt. You've got the avalanche method and the snowball method. Now, I tried to create you a little graphic, but for some reason, it's on its side. So you'll all have to just do this for a second to read it. But basically, the avalanche method is where you tackle the highest debt first. And the snowball method is where you tackle the smallest balance first. Now, what I've explained on this, you guys could just take a photo of this and turn it around on your phone if you want to. But this flowchart helps you decide which method is best for you. So the first thing is, do you want to save the most amount of interest? Is saving the interest rate the most important thing to you or not? If it is, you go down the yes to can you stay disciplined and focus on the long-term strategy of clearing your debt? If yes, then choose the avalanche method. If no, then choose the snowball method. So I'd recommend you all take a photograph of this. I'm happy for you to have it. I'm sorry that it's on its side. I don't know why. I couldn't make it work, but we love a live event because it makes us do things in the interesting ways. But feel free to take a photo of this and keep that in your records so that you can decide which method you are going to use to clear your debt. You need to pick one of them, basically. Let me see if I can make this any bigger. Hold on. No, I can't. That's the best I can do. So you should be able to take a photo. We've all got a copy of that. I'm just going to count you down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so assets. Let's talk about assets. We talked about debt. Debt is what you owe, and assets is what you own. So an asset is something that you own that has value, right? It could be a house. It could be jewelry. It could be art. It could be whiskey. It could be anything. But it's anything that is actually likely to increase in value or generate an income. So let me ask you, is the car that you drive an asset or a liability? Is the house that you live in an asset or liability? understanding the difference between these two things is really important. The house you live in is a liability. Yes, you may benefit from capital appreciation over time. However, you've borrowed the money on a mortgage, you're paying an interest rate, you've probably paid arrangement fees, it costs you money to maintain it, you're paying gas, electric, utilities to keep it dry and safe and all the things. It's draining your resources to have it. And very rarely when we look at houses that we own, we often will say, right, I bought it for 200 grand and I sold it for 300 grand. I made 100 grand. But what very few people look at, especially the house that they own and live in themselves, they say, I bought it for 200. It cost me 50 grand in interest over the term. And it cost me 50 grand to actually maintain it and manage it and keep it dry and safe and all the things. And then I sold it for 300. I made nothing. We don't actually look at houses that we live in like that. But in fact, when you do, the interest rate alone for most houses, that house, that thing we think is an asset has in fact drained our resources to have it, in which case it is in fact a liability. A house that we own that makes us money, i.e. generates cash flow, that's an asset. But the house we live in, usually in most cases, is a liability. The car we drive, it's a depreciating liability, right? It's something that we buy for a price. I bought a car last Wednesday, not a new car, brand new car, but a new car to me. And I know that when I come to sell that, it'll be worth less money than what I paid for it. I accept that. That's part of the deal of having a car, right? Now, I didn't buy on finance. I just bought it cash because I don't need to finance it. But, you know, that will be worth, I will have lost money on that purchase. That makes it a liability. Yeah, especially if it's an interest rate on a loan on car finance, it's even more of a liability. You've also got to put new tires on it. You've got to fill it up with fuel. You've got to do all the things. Liability. Anything that drains your resources to have it, that's a liability. Anything that actually adds to your wealth, that's an asset. So in your assets, what we want to list on here is what's actually yours. Yeah, what is in fact actually yours. And generally, this will be things like equity. It will be not value. So if you live in a house that's £400,000 and you've got £50,000 equity in it, that 50 would be considered like, if you sold that house and you'd be left with that, that's actual money that would be yours. The £400,000 value of the house is irrelevant, right? So with your assets and your debts, what you then have to do from a calculation perspective to work out your net worth is you write down all of your assets, all of the money, all the stuff that you own that's yours, that has a value to it, what that value is. Then you write down all the money that you owe, the debt that you've got. And if you sold everything that you own and you redeemed, like cleared off the debt that you've got, what would be left? That's your net worth. That's the figure I need you to get to today, right? That's where we want to be. Because without knowing that and where we are, income and expenses and our net worth, it's really hard then to kind of set the strategy about what we're going to do to improve it, grow it, develop it over time. Does that make sense? Everyone clear on those things? Now, with your net worth, there is no judgment here. Like, I don't need to know what your net worth is. I don't care what your net worth is in truth. I want you to care what your net worth is. I don't care what anyone else's net worth is. All I want to know is what my net worth is, because then I can utilize that in the best possible way. What's important is that you know what your position is. When you start to think like a money mechanic, when you really start to be proactive in the way that you're approaching your money, you will naturally start to feel more confident because it becomes more commonplace in your life, right? And my ambition for you this week is to feel more confident about your money. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to have more money by the end of this week. I can't make miracles happen, right? I can't just magic money into your life. But what I can do is to help you be so on top of your money that you feel like you're in a more confident place because you understand it and you're in control of it better. Does that make sense? So I'm going to come back and just answer a few questions because I don't want to keep you for much longer than an hour tonight because I appreciate it was an early start. A lot of you have been, this this can be quite draining, and we've got a week ahead of us, right? So I want you to make sure you've got some energy for the rest of the week. It's so easy this week to let life get in the way. What I need you guys to do for the rest of the week is to make sure you carve out the time to be on the lives between 5 and 6, or if you're watching on catch up, to make sure you watch on catch up, but also to spend the time in the day doing the task that you've been asked to do. It's super important. So if you've got if you have no mortgage, is it still a liability? Well, yeah, because it's still draining your resources to have it, because you've still got to look after it. Because you live in it, it actually is the use of it is the liability. If you put a lodger in it or a tenant in it and it was making money, then that's an asset because it's creating wealth. Whereas even if you own it, but it's costing you money to maintain it, it's actually depleting your resources to have it. Now, yes, capital appreciation could outstrip the cost to maintain it over time, but there's no guarantee of capital appreciation, and hope's not a strategy. So I would say that yes, it is a liability. If you live in it, it's one you're living in. Yes, Mo, these will all be on YouTube. So the video today, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, they'll all be on my YouTube channel. So you'll be able to watch these back if you want to. Any questions tonight? I'm just going to scroll through all of the comments, and I'm also going to put the links in that I promise. So the link for the book, .com/money mechanics. Money mechanics. I'm going to type it in there so you've got it, and then hold on. We love a little tech dream. Mechanics. Here we go. www.sarahquainton.com/money mechanics. Add. That worked? Yes, there you go. You should be able to see it on the screen now. So for those of you that want to order a copy of the book, it's £10, by the way, on that link. And that link will, you'll get it from my office. So the team will get me to sign it for you and we'll send it out to you tomorrow. So yeah, I order a copy of there. Who else we got in? Hello, Susan. Hello, Rob. Hello, Tina. There's loads of you on tonight. We love this. So has anyone got any other questions about financial snapshot? Now, I appreciate it's quite a big topic. The whole week, we're going to be doing some core things each day. So you'll have different questions as we move through it. And I know a lot of you have got like personal questions. So instead of asking them on here, you're messaging me them on WhatsApp. That's fine. Feel free to do that. That's why we've done it on WhatsApp. So that actually, if you've got like I guess money's a bit confidential. You want to talk privately about stuff, which is absolutely fine. Feel free to message me. So for those of you that joined partway through tonight, just a little reminder, the WhatsApp broke this morning, but should be working now. You'll get a link each day with the task link on it, and you'll be able to access that. If you get stuck on anything, you just reply to the WhatsApp message, and that comes through to me on my phone, and I can respond to you. We are also running a social media competition. The tickets, the prize is 2 tickets to my Money Mechanics live event in Milton Keynes on the 22nd of March. You just need to share what you're up to this week with this challenge using the hashtag I'm a Money Mechanic. So if you want to take a picture of this, or you want to do a selfie or a picture of the workbook or whatever, I don't really mind. What we want to do is just share the message of Money Mechanics as far and wide as we can, so that I can help people to understand this stuff. Like, imagine a world where we all had enough money that we could make decisions on what we're going to do with our life based on how we felt, instead of based on how much money we have or haven't got. So that for me is the mission that I'm on. That's why I'm trying to get you guys to understand this a lot better. It's why we do these challenges. It's why we do it for free. It's so that actually we can help you to just develop this stuff. Now, there's 5 pieces of the jigsaw puzzle. Today's been financial snapshot. How have you found today? Now we've gone through it, you've got a bit more understanding of the context. Stick in the comments, what's been your experience today? Have you had fun? Have you learned loads? Are you feeling a bit worried about it? If you are, don't worry. There's a whole week of this and educational stuff that we're going to get through. What's your experience been with day one? Tell me in the comments. How are we feeling about it? Was it a good activity doing your snapshot, or did you find it hard? Tell me how you found it. Just in the comments, just drop me a little comment. I think financial snapshot genuinely was the hardest thing that I did in this whole process of going from literally having no money to now where I'm at now. And I think understanding it and really drilling down on where I was allowed me to like move things forward. So be brave. I know it's hard, but hopefully you guys are feeling a little bit more confident now. And yeah, you know, those of you that are now saying to me you're going to switch from minimum payment to fixed payment, brilliant. I've just saved you like tens of thousands of pounds, most of you, thousands definitely. Florence feeling like there's a lot to take in. I get it. There is a lot to take in. But remember, we've got one task a day each day. You can WhatsApp me if you're stuck on anything. And what we learn here this week, you don't have to implement everything overnight, like straight away. You'll have these tools, you'll have these resources, and you'll have this knowledge. You start to layer it into your life over time. So don't get overwhelmed by it. Just hang out this week, spend time absorbing the information. By the end of the week, you'll have a bit more of a roadmap of where and what to do first and next. That's why we've pieced it together with one task a day each day. And once you've done all of those bits, moving forward will be a lot less overwhelming. So well done for being here, those of you here, even though you're feeling a little bit like, ooh, I'll look after you this week, I promise. Lots of learning, good. Looking forward to day 2. So just to set the scene for tomorrow, you'll get your link in the morning on WhatsApp, provided it's kind to me, but we will also send it on email, so look out for that if you don't get the WhatsApp. And then we will be live at 5, just like we are tonight. But remember, it's a different link than tonight. So on the task page, there'll be the link. Make sure you use tomorrow's link, otherwise you'll be in an event that's already finished, right? Anything else I've forgotten? Anything I need to mention? The VIP, yep. Let me just remind you guys. So the VIP upgrade, those of you that haven't upgraded yet, I know loads of you have, which is amazing. The VIP upgrade gives you access to a few more resources. It'll just help you to cement this stuff a little bit better. And it also gives you 2 extra training sessions with me. One on Wednesday, which is all about budgeting. And I'm actually going to show you my budget tracker, how we use it, how we build it. It's a little bit, it's a lot more detailed than this actually. It has like charts and things on it. So I'm going to show you how to utilize that properly. And then on the Thursday, we're going to do a Q&A, deep dive Q&A, where you can just talk to me about whatever you've got going on in your finances that you want to just get to grips with, but you need like a personal response. So that's a really good opportunity for just, we're going to do it on Zoom. Yeah, we're doing them on Zoom. So you'll be on screen with me. We'll have a proper conversation rather than tonight where I can only see your comments. We will be on Zoom so we can talk about it. So the upgrade is £50. Is the link for this / Bootcamp VIP? So hold on, let me just put that in the Bootcamp VIP. Should be able to put that up on screen if text can be kind to me. There you go. sarahpoynton.com / Bootcamp VIP. So if you guys want to upgrade, grab your ticket. You'll get those extra resources. You'll get it in like a login to a portal where you'll access all of that, and you'll get the links to those 2 training sessions. If you can't make them live, we will record them and we'll get them into the members portal as well. So it doesn't really matter if you can't turn up live. We'll absolutely send you the recording, so you'll still have access to that. And then just another little reminder about the social media competition. Hashtag I'm a money mechanic. Whatever you learn this week, you know, those of you who said your biggest takeaway tonight is about the minimum payment versus fixed payment. Get that shared. Get that like told to as many people as possible. Let's help everybody else to learn and to develop their understanding of this stuff. It's going to make such a massive difference. Thank you so much for hanging out with me tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure. To the 50 or so of you who have been on tonight. For those of you watching up on catch up, welcome, welcome. It's lovely to see you as well. Make sure you chat to us in the YouTube chat and we'll pick those up. Make sure you message me on WhatsApp if you're stuck on anything. Other than that, I'm going to leave you to your evening. Thanks for hanging out with me this evening. It's been amazing. I'll catch up with you guys tomorrow. See ya.